Apologize for our tardiness. We had an executive session and we had some legal issues to discuss and some personnel issues. I didn't have time to thank all the board members for coming early at 5 o'clock to participate in that. So thank you for your input. At this time, we will move to the Education Committee. Mr. Fedorchik is in here, so Mr. Weber, if you would, please.
I'd like to open our Education Committee meeting and turn it over to Dr. Stoker.
Thank you, Mr. Weber. First up this evening is just an announcement of our PSSA testing dates. We have submitted those to the state, so they have been solidified. The link that's in there is to our annual testing calendar, so if you click on that, you should have all of the assessments that are happening in the district, and we continue to update throughout the school year. So Slatington Elementary and the middle school are essentially giving the tests on pretty much the same dates. ELA is starting on Tuesday, and there's 3 sections, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 21, 22, 23. The difference is where they test for math. The Slatington Elementary starts on Monday and Tuesday, has a break, and then does science on Thursday and Friday, where the middle school starts on Tuesday and goes throughout that week. And then both of those buildings have makeups through May 8th. Any questions on that? Okay. The next item on the agenda is the medical assistant certificate opportunity. This is in partnership with L-Tri-C. They reached out and said that they had this opportunity. We spent some time learning more about it. Mr. Pine, myself, and our 2 high school counselors, Mrs. Crucial and Mrs. Hoffert, jumped into a call with L-Tri-C to get some more information, but it seems like a very good opportunity for our students. So again, it's in partnership with L-Tri-C. It's fully funded through their PA Dual Credit Innovation Grant, so it's 0 cost to families. That covers credit, that covers textbooks, anything that they would need, fees, completely covered to any students who get accepted into the program. Essentially, it prepares students for entry-level medical assistant positions in healthcare settings, so it's not targeted to LCTI students. It's not targeted to students that may go on to get a 2-year or 4-year degree in nursing or anything of that nature. It's really for students to go directly into the medical profession. There have 20 openings for the class of 2027 across the region, so it's not just for us, it's competitive across all of the school districts. It's first come, first serve. The admission requirements, they have to be eligible for English 105, a C or higher in one of the sciences like biology, chemistry, or physics. There's an English placement test also that they would have to take. I'm not going to read through all the courses, but that's generally what it would look like. They would start in the summer of 2026, so it would begin before they're rolling into their senior year. They would take a couple classes. It would go fall and spring of their senior year. They would graduate from Northern Lehigh with a Northern Lehigh diploma, and then post-graduation, they would be able to do a clinical experience and then finalize that certificate. They have to maintain a C or better in the program. The application and deadline is March 31st. Decisions will be announced by April 15th. And there is an information session coming up this week for families, March 5th at 5 p.m. at the Schnecksville campus. So again, just some information for the greater community. I spoke with our school counselors at the high school today, and as of today, we have 4 students that are interested in the program. So that's very good. I don't know if all 4 will get in or move through into application, but at least 4 to begin. We did speak with the representatives from L-Tri-C and said this is a great opportunity. Do you foresee this continuing? Is this a one and done? And they said that they are expecting that this will continue moving forward. So very excited for that opportunity for our students, and it really fits in with the work that our high school and Mr. Pine have been doing with our pathways and our new program of study.
That sounds awesome, because those are hard spots to fill, to have kids interested already, and then the fact that they'll get that clinical after, that's terrific.
Yes, and we again hope it continues, so hopefully we can get some students into our local hospitals and other medical facilities in the area.
That's great. Sounds like a great program.
Okay. Next is Spindle Sub Services. So we are looking to contract with this organization for positions that we're finding that are hard to fill right now. Mr. Briner and I actually had a call with them a couple weeks ago at this point. It really mainly stemmed from interpreter services. We have times where we need to have, let's say, a Spanish interpreter at an IEP meeting, and we struggle to be able to make that happen logistically. So we reached out to them to see if they could fill something like that, which they can, and then it opened up some other areas like nursing, like paraprofessionals. So we're looking to move this forward for a vote on Monday night for the board meeting to approve them. Essentially, we would be looking to fill those positions that I just described. They do have in-person interpreters that can come out to actually all those positions that can come out to campus, but they also offer those services virtually. So we have some options there. We would only pay as a district when those staff are actually deployed. We don't have to pay, to reserve or anything like that. They build a roster for us based upon our specs. So if we're looking at, we have currently Spanish, Vietnamese, Hindi, French languages, we can say these are the 4 top languages we have right now. Can you build an interpreter list to meet those needs? Or we have paraprofessionals that we really need in an elementary setting or a special education setting, and they can kind of customize that for what our needs are at that time. And they gave us a list of what the costs are for those, and the different people with different certifications come at a different cost. The only time we would be charged is if we request somebody and then we don't, we cancel that within a short period of time, then we would be charged for that. But outside of that, we would not be charged unless we actually ask for somebody to fill in one of those staffing areas.
Is there an average cost for that?
There's not an average cost, but
You said there's different costs. I mean,
correct.
we're not
So
paying $1 million per position.
here's just
I know
some
that.
general, if you look up there, some hourly rates just for some basic people that they shared with us.
How long of a time frame do you think will be needed for an interpreter? Because I
So-
see there it says minimum of 2 hours.
Yeah, typically, an IEP meeting is around an hour. Sometimes we need them for a little bit longer. We've been using interpreters for like parent-teacher conferences. So what we typically do is have somebody available, and we try to back-to-back those parent-teacher conferences where we may need a Spanish interpreter or something like that. So it would really depend on what the situation is, but probably like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours at the most. Again, if we can staff some of these things in-house, we would go to our people first. And then if we can't staff them for some reason, this gives us a nice backup resource. It also gives us the ability, if for some time we are trying to staff on a given morning, let's say we're 3 paraprofessionals short, because maybe we're in the process of hiring for some of those positions or we just don't have the staffing, our sub-caller, Mrs. Farber, can actually go through our list, place everybody, and then she can actually submit to this company. They're actually building an electronic system to do it, and say, hey, we still need 2 subs. I need one for, let's say Peters, and I need one for the middle school. And they can deploy those people that would be, on our roster if needed for those circumstances too.
We were short a number of paraprofessionals, right? How many are we short now? I thought it was like 8 at the beginning of the year or
I
something.
think it's 4-ish, 4, 3,
I think we have 3 now.
So we would not be bringing in a paraprofessional at that rate to fill those spots, would we?
No, we would
No.
be hiring within
Okay.
as
Alright.
much as we can, and then in the interim, or if we have, so many absences on a particular day that we need to go out to one of the systems, then we would do that. But these would not be in place of our hirings.
Yeah, and if I can add, there's circumstances sometimes that we need somebody on a regular basis for a month, and we can't find a para to fit that need, then at that point, we might have to look at that as a short-term solution.
Pretty expensive short term.
It is, it is. It is, but we have to provide the supports that are in an IEP, and unfortunately, sometimes it's hard to find people that can handle some behaviors.
So just, if I'm reading that right, like if you got the $90 per diem, that would be 8 hours, say, or 7.5 hours, is that right? That's what that cost would be for that day?
For that particular category,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Supposing
so-
you- say the $90 a day, the $90 one, if you would hire them, you would hire them for like 8 hours, $720 a day.
So we,
Under-
yeah, I mean, it would depend on what the work class is. So our paraprofessionals don't work an 8-hour day. They work short of that. So it would be for that amount of hours that we would have them here. Or we may just need somebody to cover for, 2 hours. We may need somebody to cover for half a day. Again, it's a backup solution for us at this point. We would certainly want to hire within our district first because of that cost differential and some other factors as well.
And it's strictly the hourly rate, there's no mileage benefits or anything like that, is that right?
So I don't think that there was mileage. I think it's all incorporated into that
Yeah,
cost,
to that
is
one
my
number.
understanding.
If it's 90, it's 90, you don't get anything extra, okay.
No,
Correct,
yeah, yeah.
that's my understanding.
That's not, that's their cost on that
That's- yep.
side,
Yeah.
that's what
And
they
then they
charge.
pick up that,
Right.
okay. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? You look like you're gonna say something.
To move forward, we would need the support of the committee to have this on the agenda for March 9th.
Can I'm concerned, like you said, Tim, if it would be for more of a shorter long-term, can we get something like after maybe like 3 months and say, can you share with us how often you've had to use it? Or something like that? I mean, I'm not against the service, but it would just give us an idea of what it's costing us to do that, so maybe we have to think of something else. That's all.
My other concern is the paraprofessionals that work in this district, looking at what we would pay the people that are coming from the service and saying, why don't I just go work for that service?
And we've had that before, because we have, not that they've left, but we've had instances where we had to hire a nurse as more of a one-on-one situation. And these are typically pretty confidential agreements as to how much somebody's making, and we don't talk about those types of things. But we've been in that situation where we absolutely needed a nurse for a one-on-one for a kid to go back and forth to school, procedures, for instance, in the past. And we've had to subcontract because we couldn't find somebody for a short period of time, and then lay them off, and then wind up having to pay workers unemployment. Thank you, like that kind of thing. So we've used something like that previously, and our nurses were not getting that $90 an hour either.
I think the other component of that is stability. Some people want to work in a position and consistently be at a job in one spot, rather than being kind of,
If I can
moving
just add
around
too, these services often, it's an option that we can try to use, but if we can't fill it, typically they can't fill it. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Like, I've looked for nurses previously, and I've asked different companies, can you find me a nurse, and they can't find it either, because it's not a steady position. It's just one more tool in our toolkit to try to,
Yeah, I'm not so worried about the nurse, I'm more worried about the paraprofessionals.
yeah. It's not like they're getting that money either.
No.
Right, that's
those-
like,
Yeah,
Those
those
that's
like an
individuals
IU
are not getting
contracted
$90 a
rate,
day,
yeah.
$9 an hour. Just like the hourly rate for the people that we employ directly is not nearly reflective of their total cost to the district.
yeah. I guess I have a question. Who would specifically be looking to, like, contact them to, like, I just would want to make sure we're not abusing that service, like, where they're like, oh, well, call them, before, like, kind of strategically figuring things out.
So for interpreters, I would handle the interpreter part of
Okay.
that. We have a system right now where that all filters through me and then through the principals if there's a need there.
Yeah.
So that part would come through me. When we get to nurses, that would probably
Typically me.
be
Okay,
Okay, so
Shelley.
it's directors then.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to paraprofessionals, I would work with Jamie Farber with
Okay,
that part.
as long as there's oversight on, making sure we're doing it when it's absolutely necessary.
And it's really to fill in, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, with the IUs, you do that in a certain way where you contract with Ts and things like that,
Yep.
so it's pretty much,
It's the same thing.
okay. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay, so I think I'm hearing, okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have this evening. I'm going to pass it off to Mr. Pine for our math selection.
All right, so I'm very excited to bring you today what I think I've been teasing and sort of talking about over the past couple of months, which is an actual recommendation from our math selection committee for adoption of a new math program. So just real, very, very abbreviated background. So this journey started back actually in spring of 24. I was thinking about it today and trying to figure out where we started with all this, which I'm going that far back because of where we end up by the end of it. And a joint counsel through Eric Leck, we saw a presentation from a group called Innovamat that was really proposing to do professional development through the IU for math teachers across the region. I think we walked out of there and we were like, wow, this is something different. Like, you know, and for me as a former English teacher, I was like, wow, I think I would have understood math if it was this way. I think that I would have learned a lot more. And so we came back and we said, well, we've got to tap into our experts here. So we sent out our department leads, Jamie Bigley, Alyssa Fry, and Amanda Bariana last year for a series of trainings that they did with, again, other teachers from the Lehigh Valley region. And they came back the same way as math teachers. They were like, this would change everything about the way that we teach math. And we think that it would have a big impact. So with that, at the same time, we all actually started like catching on to like some of the recent math research with Peter Lilladell and building thinking classrooms, and saw the intersection of that. And so then last year in the spring, we developed a set of priorities, a set of goals for what we're looking for in a math program. I think I've said before here, and I'll say it to anyone who will listen, I was not going to buy a program that was or recommend buying another program that was, a bunch of problem sets, right? Like just a bunch of problems for kids to do in math. We were looking for something that was actually going to impact student engagement and impact math learning within the district. And so as all those things intersected, this played a big role in some of those priorities that we put together. Things we were looking for were spiraling, a program that doesn't just march along and assume that like we're done with this unit and we're going to keep on moving. So hopefully most of the kids got it and hopefully they retain it. Programs that spiral continually bring back in previously learned math concepts so that students are cementing that knowledge and those skills as they're moving along. Real strong increase in number sense. Our students right now have limited number sense, right? The ability to quickly identify, 30 times 15 and do that math in their head and have that fluency, which I just saw another presentation last week with the high school teachers of Paul Riccomini, and he said again that is the biggest barrier to students advancing in higher level math. So we knew we needed that, and mathematical reasoning, just the ability to work through a math problem to like figure out like what are the important components and figure out how I'm going to use math to solve this. And then of course we were looking for high levels of student engagement. The students were thinking that they were engaged, that they were participating in math. So we only looked at programs that fit that bill right from the get-go. We said that this is what we're going to be looking for. We want to line up whatever our choice is with what the research is saying about math learning. So I'm not going to go through what those programs all were at the beginning, but we went through a pretty rigorous process, starting with having all of our teachers sit through, that sounds terrible, engage in presentations by experts from all the companies that we were looking at, which eventually led us to filter down to Thinking Math, which at the time and now is actually a K through 6 program only. They are picking up 7th and 8th grade next year. Just understand they're translating a lot of it's a European-based program initially. They're translating a lot of the standards over to the US, so that's why there's sort of this staggered thing with them. And then iReady, which is a K through 8 program. They have K through 8 programming. I did share, and we can click on it here, the summary of teacher input. I did share in previous board updates. This is a napkin. It's an AI that creates like this sort of like nice executive review of all of the evaluations that our teachers did who participated in the pilots. And throughout that process, again, remember we went out to visits to school districts, Elk Lake, Upper Freehold, New Jersey, East Penn, right nearby here at West Coastville Elementary, in order to see these programs in action. And we did actually get our teachers who weren't piloting into the pilot classrooms as well, so that way they could observe and we could get some feedback from them about what they were seeing. The bulk of our evidence that we worked with, though, was our pilot teachers, the teachers who stepped in, who have been conducting these programs now for the past 3.5 months, 4 months actually almost, and that is what this this will show you. This will show you just a quick summary of those results. The survey or the evaluation tool that they used, it was a Google form, asked them to use those initial criteria that we originally established to rate the programs on a 1 to 4 Likert scale. I was going to do 1 to 5, but then Curriculum Council told me that lots of people choose 3, and we wanted to make sure that we had people leaning positive or negative in each of the categories. So they did at the end rate the entire program and how appropriate they thought it is, but we really wanted to get into like each of those facets, each of those characteristics. We brought this, a much longer AI-aided summary and synthesis of all those results and the actual sheets to committee, the Math Selection Committee, on February 6th. So it was right after our last set of meetings here, so I wasn't able to talk about it at that time yet. On February 6th, and we went through all of that. Initially, teachers were asked to review all the data on their own, and then I put them into groups based on their grade spans. So it was K through 2, 3 through 6, and then 7, 8 together in order to talk through those results and the notes that they found in those results. The teachers did an amazing job. It was really rich, interesting conversation. We actually ended up going probably about 20 minutes over the end of the day just because people really wanted to like work through all of this. I will say that there was very strong support for thinking math, and I will say that throughout the entire process. But certainly in that last meeting, I also didn't link it in here, but I did share with the school board in the previous update. I did follow up on the request to compare the pilot programs and our existing programs' IXL outcomes in terms of growth from the middle of the year, or beginning of the year to the middle of the year. Sorry, I don't know what's happening to me. And so I did share those with those. I still contend that we take that with a grain of salt. There are a lot of factors that could impact that, and typically speaking, a pilot or a first year of something is not going to have glowing positive results because there's an adjustment period. I will say thinking math in every single group, and I did highlight one group in our 3rd grade where there were some other variables at play, outperformed both iReady and our current program, Eureka, by a pretty significant amount in terms of growth. And just, the Likert scale really was asking them whether or not they thought that it was exemplary, proficient, developing, or limited in all of the categories. Again, you have this. I mean, if you have any questions, I'm not going to go through every single thing. And it was
Click on page 2. I
Sure.
did look at this when I was reading everything, but I thought there was something else a little concerned. I'm kind of refresh my brain a minute. And then page 3. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
So, and just highlighting that, the 2 biggest challenges that we saw with iReady across the board, and I think that it probably was a barrier at the lower levels. I think at the secondary level, the middle school, it was a barrier that they felt they had overcome by the time we had ended, were the issues with pacing and concerns about implementation. I think similar to what I said before about like the ELA program even, the higher we are up with a program where we're making a transition like this, the bigger the struggle is in closing the gap.
So are we looking to go to thinking math for the 7th and 8th grade as soon as it's ready?
So right now, the selection committee's recommendation was to move forward with iReady in 7th and 8th grade. But I think as I've suggested before, we could do that. I'm going to tell you, from my stance, I am comfortable with either outcome.
The consistency wouldn't be better going from 6th to 7th with thinking math rather than changing to iReady?
It'll certainly be easier for students to move through a program consistently. Yes, there's no doubt
Not
that
to mention, we have to buy 2 programs then, correct?
Correct, yeah. Which
Because
again
you
is
had said it was going to be ready next year.
27, 28. So
that's next year.
Yeah. So for the so next year, and I already followed up with this, anticipating that we might have this conversation. Yeah. So I spoke with the rep from Thinking Math. They're anticipating that they'll be releasing pilots for 7th and 8th grade as early as October, as late as January possibly. So we absolutely have that option to move forward. Just in the past, there's been, I think, a push, a desire to see us adopt widely to make sure that we're meeting the needs of all students across. I absolutely can see, the
I just like the
potential that-
consistency from one program,
Sure,
from one grade to another with the one program.
sure. Is there someone else? Okay.
I do have a question too. Are you have questions yet or not?
Yeah.
So,
We skipped right
I-
into the
I think-
recommendation.
I think it was
committee
page 3, I think it was page 3 of what you'd shared with us before.
Sure.
I think that's where it was. In the overall, it says in the overall challenges for thinking math, it states requires significant teacher supplementation to ensure mastery and standards coverage, and uncertainty regarding readiness for standardized assessments without added supports. What added supports are we going to need?
Which can you just?
I don't remember
say
now
when we're on?
where it said that.
It might be on.
So again, this is an analysis through AI. So this is why we talked about it. We actually had the teacher responses in there. So two things. One, I think that there's concern and uncertainty, as we always have moving towards a new program, as to is it going to raise our scores, right? And so a lot of that language about standardized assessments, the program itself does not have students sitting down and taking assessments like we would see on the PSA.
So
there
the
was-
added supports you need would be,
So some of the conversation was creating assessments that align to that, so then that way students are continuing to experience that. We also talked about having IXL. We already have a program that does a lot of that type of work. The assessments within Thinking Math, they're not like the PSSA. They're more open-ended. The students are at times writing about math and things like that. They should build all the skills. It's just the assessments are not built the same way. iReady, on the other hand, it's a very computer-heavy program, and it does have a lot more practice that is like the state assessment. So that conversation really is driven out of, I think, that difference between the two programs.
so you use IXL to
IXL
Expand
and
that
locally
for the-
designed.
for the assessments piece?
Yeah, and locally designed assessments. I mean, with Amplify CKLA, we saw something similar, where we created other local assessments in addition. I will say both programs and many of the programs in general right now, which is a really good fit with like standards-based reporting, they're not testing heavy. So again, when we talk about like over-testing students and things like that, the
Right.
programs themselves won't have as much of that. It'll be for us to supplement that in. The other one area, which is just, I think, answers to the comments of supplementing with Thinking Math, it came up in kindergarten. We heard about it several times. We heard about it down in Upper Freehold. And when I say this is the easiest thing I could possibly imagine having to supplement. The program itself does not teach number formation. So the writing of actual, like a writing of a 2 and things like that, because where the program comes from in Europe, that's actually handled in the language class, right? That's handled in the writing class. And so as of right now, whether or not they change that, it doesn't. That's a real easy add-on. I mean, it's really easy to come up with and print out and collect sheets where students would actually learn how to write the numbers. And kindergarten was very confident that they would have the time to do that with the program, with the way the program runs.
Well, what do other districts that you went and visited, what do they do for the supplemental?
Same thing. Yeah. So, and that's why, like, again, like outside of my instinct that printing out those sheets, I mean, they did the same thing. So they had a binder that they had those in. And then throughout the course of the year, they had them scheduled to like teach the students how to form numbers, how to write the actual numbers.
With the pacing concerns, what are you seeing?
So iReady definitely had greater pacing concerns. There was a lot of concern that students weren't ready for it, but then also they were having a hard time keeping up. The teachers at times, especially early on with iReady, were making adjustments. I think that got more comfortable towards the end. Thinking Math, we didn't really have pacing concerns. There weren't concerns that we weren't able to keep up, which again, like if I'm looking at the results that we had, if they mean anything at all from IXL, I mean, it means that we're doing things at a comfortable pace, but it's like efficient and effective, and it's actually like working, yeah.
Refresh my brain, thinking math is the kindergarten too, we're trialing both of them, is that what?
So kindergarten through second grade, we tried both of them. And then at Slatington, third grade used Thinking Math, and then fourth and fifth grade used iReady in the pilot. And then seventh and eighth grade were also iReady at the middle school.
So, again, what's your proposal in with what
Yes.
grades?
So K through 6 Thinking Math,
Okay,
and that's
so
what that
far.
quote. That's
Okay.
what that quote is for,
Okay.
certainly.
And what's the cost again?
So Thinking Math's cost is $383, $996, and 80 cents
First,
596.
for 5
5
years,
years,
grades
yes.
K through 6.
yeah, broken down, it's like, I forget, it's like 80,000 or something. around
Yeah,
80,000.
that sounds right. The other thing too with both programs, but even more so with Thinking Math, is if you look more closely at the professional learning costs, the program does come with substantial professional learning. There's actually 44 days of in-class coaching, where they'll send out their coaches to work with teachers directly in the classroom. I have to say that throughout the pilot, I think that was a huge boon for the teachers. I think that the teachers really turned towards Thinking Math, not only because of what was happening in the classroom with their students, but also because of the support they were getting in making those changes.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna get a lot of manipulatives and things like that with the kids.
Yeah, the manipulatives, and I do recommend that. We talked about it because we do have manipulatives in the district, but I would recommend that for this initial launch, we get the manipulatives that come with this, that we take the manipulatives we have, we keep those in stock for replacements, breakages, and things like that, but that we set the teachers up with the set of manipulatives they need to hit the ground running with the program.
Probably be more consistent too, because not everybody's gonna have the same old manipulatives.
Yes, yeah. It'll be a lot easier to substitute later, I think, than to try and Frankenstein together manipulative
Right.
packages now.
Have there been any discussions about spreading the cost out over 5 years, like the materials and things like that, instead of buying everything up front, or?
So-
You know, I'm coming from a math perspective, you know, what if 3 years from now we go, oh God, this is the worst thing we ever did?
Yeah, no, and I mean,
We're stuck at that point.
we could seek a reduced span of time. My general sense on this is, A, we've not heard that from anyone we've talked to. Anyone who's adopted it, everyone is continuing to love this and seeing impact with their students. The districts we talked to, I mean, the one thing that came up over and over again was the number sense. And we saw it in classrooms. Kids' automaticity with math, their ability to like transfer understanding of fractions to reading a clock and time and things like that. It was very, very apparent. So my general thought with that, though, is that if 5 years is a good commitment for us to work with a program, to learn through a program, and to reach the other end successfully, I think that reduced contracts, one, they limit that time span, and two, perhaps send a message that that investment could fall off, right? And to the teachers, to others, that, we're only invested in this for 3 years. I think that the teachers are going to invest a lot in this in terms of time, in terms of new learning and things. That's why I've generally turned to 5-year contracts, yeah.
So what, 10% a year in test scores increasing, or what's your prediction?
I hate to
8,
predict,
6?
especially initially, but I think with math, I mean, we've got a lot of space between where we are right now and the ceiling on this, right? And there's a lot of room to move up. I have no doubt that this is going to improve our outcomes in math. I will say this also. I think that would be the case with some other programs as well, that we would see positive outcomes. I think what we're doing right now is it's really the minimum, and that's not the teachers. The program that we haven't invested in a new math program since I've been here. So what are we going on, like
So what do we
14
have-
years almost? Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought you were done. What do we have after 5 years then? After we pay for it all, and we have the kits, and is there something we're gonna have to continue to buy after 5 years?
So we would have to go back after 5 years, just like with the ELA program. And right now, Ms. Molatoris, since I've been in this position, has been working through the fund balance process in order to create, what are we calling it? The dedicated assigned curriculum materials fund balance. So actually setting aside money, realizing that these packages are going to come up every so often so that we're able to sustain that over time. I would say that in the future, the professional development cost, I would expect to go down. The one nice thing is they will come out, Thinking Math, they'll train our new teachers every year. So every single year we get new teachers, they're gonna come back and they're gonna train them. And I mean, it's, when you look at it, it's a pretty unlimited professional development package for the first 5 years.
So what are the ongoing costs after 5 years?
I mean,
What do we expect?
it's gonna go up as things do in terms of like just increases with prices, but I would anticipate anything that is in here that is not PD. So if we're looking at
Probably not manipulative.
And
and manipulative, so right now like that, if I'm looking at this, it would be a total for 5 years of about $240,000. That would be what we would see again if we renewed this cycle.
Curriculum shouldn't change.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Curriculum shouldn't change.
No,
Practice
No.
materials.
it'll be materials, yeah. It'll be the books the students use.
And then what about iReady? What's the cost? for
So if you want to bring that one up. So the cost for iReady for 7th and 8th grade only, that's all I have here right now. But we can kind of extrapolate, and I think iReady's total cost, if I was to take this, multiply it by the other 6 grades, add those in, would bring us to around $340,000, I think it was. So their total is $90,000. For iClassroom and iReady, that's the program, so that would be definitely the recurring cost is $52,000. They have professional learning priced in at $33,000. So iReady is certainly cheaper in professional learning for the 2 grades. So that's the breakdown there.
I'm sorry, is it the 89,000?
89, yeah,
For
1, 10,
for
17.
5 years.
For 5 years, yeah.
So we're looking at a total of what was the first number?
Oh.
83,
3, yep.
596.
So for.
So that seems like a lot of professional development that they put in there. So you're saying they would have like 44 people come out?
So it's 44 visits. So over the
Doesn't that
course.
seem like a lot?
I mean, it's a major shift in instruction. I'm trying to think of how to even capture that too. So like what the teachers are doing in the classroom is going to be dramatically different. We all remember classroom math classes being highly didactic, right? Students in rows, teachers show, right? Students practice too. There's a lot more instructionally that goes into what we're seeing here.
I guess I'm just trying to understand what the student experience would be. With
Well, I
what you're
think a
saying.
lot of teachers.
Yeah, I think the professional
That one
development.
person
Sure.
that's coming in for one day,
Right.
we're going to see how many teachers. And we have how many teachers actually teaching that curriculum?
Yeah, quick back in the napkin math, just shy of 30 teachers ultimately across the district who will be teaching math across K through 6.
I think that professional development, one, it shows growth for our professionals, which is important. And that's a change of mindset. It's a growth opportunity for them to learn something new. That as they're doing that, some of those concepts they might be able to also use, not just in the math curriculum, but if they're teaching an English curriculum or a science curriculum or anything, right? So I'm sure there's still professional development in there just in general, but understanding what you're teaching and having somebody help you understand that is going to make that learning experience that much better. So, you know, on a professional development side, I don't think if we want the program to be successful that we should skimp on that. If we want the program to be successful, that has to be part of it.
So is this professional learning, is the money we're gonna pay for that, is this gonna be during in-service days, or are we going to have to pull teachers out of the classroom and pay a sub to do this, or
So
how's it gonna work?
we already did it a bit this year. So with the pilot we did for Thinking Math, they actually gave us 2 coaching days. We worked through it. It would be a lot easier with more days, right? We were trying to get as many teachers exposure to the coach and the coach exposure to their classrooms as possible within those 2 days, which is challenging. It's challenging to get them around, to be able to, at first, model for the teacher, and then in the second visit, to observe the teacher and provide feedback to the teacher in terms of the implementation of the
So they're
program.
coming into the classroom.
So they're coming to the classroom. The thing that we have to work through during those days, though, is that we need to pull them in order to provide time for them to debrief with that coach. So, but we worked through that. I mean, the building principals have been amazing. I mean, we've been able to work through getting them coverage for that 15, 20 minutes so they can have that conversation, have that debrief, and then get back into the classroom. Yeah.
So I think what I'm hearing is a strong endorsement of thinking math K to 6. And then for 7th and 8th grade, the current recommendation through the pilot is iReady, but thinking math is about to release grades 7 and 8, where we could pilot as early as next school year and then adopt in 27, 28 school year.
Yeah,
Does that summarize?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yes.
There's more for
Yeah.
approval for thinking that K to 6.
Well, I think we're looking for, one, through K through 6, but then also for the committee to make a decision, do you want to commit to 7th and 8th grade iReady now? Or do you want to
No.
wait to see if we can extend the continuum the following year, pilot it next year for grade 7 and 8, knowing that we're going to have the same conversation again next year about thinking math for grades 7 and 8 to recommend it for the following year's budget cycle, and that currently in the middle school, they're going to continue what they're doing while simultaneously running a pilot probably for certain months next year.
Yeah.
But that may result in a full K to 8 curriculum continuum in mathematics.
I like
Yep.
the continuum
Yeah,
of
Yeah, I do too.
K through 8.
So I'm just trying to paraphrase it.
No, that was great.
Yeah, I
That was great.
appreciate
It was
that.
great.
My
Yeah.
brain was going, ooh.
Yeah, because that's what we were talking about, having consistency
Yeah,
across
yeah.
the district, which we have not had.
Yeah, and this isn't unprecedented. I mean, we approached CKLA and ELA in a similar fashion, different reasons at that time, but we did adopt CKLA through grade 5, ELA in grade 6, Amplify ELA, and then the following year picked up grade 7 and 8 with
So-
Amplify ELA.
So we did K6, some of them piloted iReady.
Yes.
And the decision was the Thinking Math was a stronger and better program.
Yeah, strongly.
Then definitely, I believe we should wait and do it all with one company, to put it
Well, we want to see what
Generically.
the pilot looks like.
Well,
That's
as long
it.
as
To,
the
to
pilot-
be, to be
Yeah.
fair, yeah, I would like to approach
Yes.
the pilot with curiosity and just sort of make sure that we're thinking about it that way with the middle school as well. But I can see the reason in that for sure.
So it sounds to me like you're looking for a motion to bring the Thinking Math K6 to next Monday's board meeting for approval.
Yes, certainly that.
Do I have a motion for that?
You can't make a motion.
You can't make a motion.
A suggestion.
That's a great idea, and I'd love to put it on the agenda.
Does anybody
No,
have any objection?
would you like to bring this to
Is
the
everyone in
agenda?
agreement?
Okay,
Great
all right, great idea, all right.
And then, do we need
How ma-
to discuss what we're doing with 7th and 8th grade at this time? So I think we should look at the pilot for
Right.
Yes.
thinking
Yes.
math.
Okay.
Is that an option that has to happen tonight?
So I think what I'm hearing is the committee supports taking to the agenda for full consideration, thinking math for an adoption K through 6 into direct administration to schedule a pilot for thinking math in 7th, 8th for 26, 27 school year.
That's what we're looking
And
at.
I will say, when I spoke to the representative from Thinking Math, that pilot would come at no cost if we do decide if we want to do that. So he said if you're adopting K through 6, like we'll throw in the pilot for you to be able to get. So we'll also get the teachers the same level. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, it's-
Like narrower than.
I have a quick question. Does this replace anything that we're currently doing? Are we, like, does this amount replace something else.
Yeah, so just a quick background on that. So Eureka Math, which we've had, is an open ed
Eureka Math,
resource.
that's
It's
it.
free.
Okay.
It's free on the internet. And we think we found it, so you get what you pay for, right? But
Right.
it was what we needed at the time because we didn't have the funds to be able to purchase a program. This was like 10 years ago. The costs generally are around $5,000 to $6,000 a year to maintain that right now, and that's because it is a free program. We're essentially making all of our own photocopies in each of the buildings of all the materials for
Right,
that.
okay.
So it's really the cost of paper, and then at Peters Elementary School, they had a program named Zern, which was affiliated with Eureka that we also would not keep on anymore. So there'd be about $5,000 to $6,000 right now that we would no longer be spending.
But we would be keeping IXL then too, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the teachers won't have to go make copies anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't the teachers. I mean, it was paraprofessionals. It was during the summer. It was like office. It was a hodgepodge of people that
And
were
it
just
isn't just paper, it's toner too, and that's even more expensive than paper.
and wear and tear on the
Wear and tear on the
copiers. Yeah.
copiers.
Yeah.
So we don't need a motion, or I'm not allowed to motion.
No.
It sounds like we're all
In
in
agreement.
agreement.
You can make a motion next
Okay.
week.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
good. Thank you, Scott.
If I can, just very quickly, I'd like to, say thank you to Mr. Pine and all the elementary teachers and the middle school teachers that work through these pilots, because it takes a lot of dedication to make sure that they come up with an appropriate recommendation. So just thank you for leading that, and thank you to all the faculty that were involved with it, as well as our three building principals.
Second.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Weber,
Yes.
before we close? Now that the state legislators have decided that cursive writing is more important than anything in the world, does our curriculum take care of that? Will we be okay? I don't know.
So it's not exactly clear what's going to be expected with that in terms of the level of cursive writing that we're supposed to have, or the level of proficiency students are supposed to have. We do already through CKLA have cursive components, I would say at best. I did poll the teachers to get a sense for like what they're actually doing. It's probably less than the new state mandate. And so we actually even started talking at the last curriculum council meeting. We're going to look more closely at those components that are in CKLA and then figure out how we want to split those over the years in order to have students actually gradually be exposed to, if not develop those skills. Any of us who've learned cursive knows that for better or worse, if you're not using it all the time, you're going to start falling back on printing again. I don't know that we would ever get to the point where we would require or in any way punish students for not writing, for writing in cursive, but we certainly want to make sure that they have that exposure and that practice, and we're coming up with a plan for that. Yeah.
I've also been told that there is a mock standardized test that comes along with it, iReady, that the teachers can use.
Oh yeah, no. There is a lot of support for standardized testing in iReady. Yeah, so I mean I will say that's the one conversation that we had.
Okay. Anything else? I'd like to close the education committee meeting and
I'll go ahead and open policy
there you go.
and turn it over to Dr. Lynn.
Thank you, and I am going to try to share my screen here. Okay, there we go. So as you may recall, in 2 months ago, at the last policy committee meeting, we talked about language, bringing together language for our policy 122, which is extracurricular activities, to address the idea of coaches and advisors working with our students. It kind of grew out of initially of a conversation about parents serving as coaches, and then we said, well, really, the proposed language should really be not just focused on parents, but just coaching and advising in general for our sports and activities. So I took some of that language that I shared last month or 2 months ago, and I put it into a draft policy with the assistance of Dr. Stoker. So what I'm going to show you is our current policy, and then the text is green, which is green, is proposed new language that administration would like to bring forward to this month's board meeting. So we further defined curricular curriculum-related student groups and added in some examples, such as performing arts groups, academic teams, and student organizations. Our current policy already defined athletic activities. We wanted to build out a little bit more the activities that are not athletic in nature. So that's just a new clause there. Really, the new language comes down under the guidelines. We felt much of the language brought forward 2 months ago focused on what are the guidelines for the coaches and for those that oversee the coaches and advisors. So we built out number 4 in the current guideline. So now it's ensure the provision of competent guidance and supervision. And we added in of student participants and staff. Originally it was just staff. Then we built out kind of A through F here. All coaches or advisors must agree to uphold the principle of fairness and shall not show a favoritism or impose excessive scrutiny upon any student participant. So really being every student gets a fair shot, fair shake at whatever they're participating in. Make decisions regarding participation, roles, playing time, casting, competition selection, and so on, based on merit, skills, and conduct and participation. So again, not based on any sort of favoritism or excessive scrutiny, but the performance of the student. Avoid engaging in private coaching or privileging individual participants during team or activity time unless the same is extended equally to all participants while serving in the capacity of a district coach or advisor. This one we kind of went around with a little bit. There are going to be times that a coach or a theater director or a band advisor is going to have a conversation with one particular athlete or performer and say, hey, I really need you to do this in this circumstance. But when it crosses into, I'm going to spend half the practice with an individual student, or the majority of a practice, or an excessive amount of time, well, then that becomes questionable, right? Because that could be interpreted as favoritism. But then we also realize that some of our people work in similar roles, but not under the auspices of the district, right? They may coach for another team that some of our students happen to play for, or a different theater company or something like that. And we can't govern over that. That's outside our purview. But we really wanted to focus in that when they're here, that they really need to be coaching the entire team, where some students may need to be coached up in certain areas, but the focus has to be on the team, not on individual students when they're putting forth their practice. They should not use their position as a head coach or a volunteer coach or an assistant coach to kind of persuade others about any sort of decisions regarding a student participant, right? So they shouldn't be using their role, certainly not to persuade stuff outside of the classroom. Outside of their sport or activity. So teachers or supervisors or stuff like that. It needs to be, you're there in a role as a coach, and you need to be advocating for all students that you work with. Acknowledge in writing their obligation to report any perceived conflicts or concerns to the director of athletics and school activities or school administrator. So if they are seeing some sort of conflict where either they themselves feel like they're drifting too far, or one of their colleagues is, they need to come forward with that and say, hey, I have a concern, I need some administrative or managerial support here. And coaches and advisors are subject to performance reviews, expectations, and consequences as all other employees. And there is an evaluation model in place for them, but we wanted to kind of memorialize it in this policy. We also wanted to memorialize in this policy that provide for the continuing evaluation of extracurricular programs and its components, and added in including feedback opportunities for student participants. So again, to memorialize, and we do this currently, but to memorialize that student participants have an opportunity to give feedback about their experience in a structured manner. So we're hopeful that this captures the genesis of some of the original conversation, without signaling out just parents or guardians of coaches and advisors. So I'll open that up for comments, questions, feedback.
I have two quick questions. Just one clarification, so sorry for the letter C in number 4.
Yep.
When I first read it, and then you clarified it, so I just want to make sure I understand it. This is specifically to a practice or a theater day. All the students are on campus for that event, practice, whatever. That's suggesting that coach can't go and coach consistently just one student.
If during that.
Or, so let me give you the or,
Sure.
because this is how I took it at first.
Mhm.
That a coach sometimes will work with an outside company and they go to that coach for instance, paid services, right? And they're going for pitching lessons, or they're going for hitting lessons, or vocal lessons. Is that indicating that they're not allowed to do that?
No.
Or is it just specific? So I don't know.
It's while they're, I'm going to say it this way, while they're on our dime, they can't do that.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to,
yeah.
that's what I thought after you
Yeah.
spoke to it. When I first
Yeah.
read it, I thought the first way, or the second way.
So that's why
So maybe just
we added in
clarification.
there, while serving in the capacity of a district coach or advisor.
So I took that as they can't do it within their season. That's how I read it, when I looked at it first.
Yes.
But the way you explained it makes sense.
When
that it's-
they're coaching for us, either paid or volunteered, during our season, for one of our sports or one of our clubs or groups, they should not be just spending all their time with an individual student athlete or student participant. However, if they're out of season or even during season, but they work somewhere else, and a family sends their son or daughter to that coach, we can't control that.
That's what I thought you were suggesting.
Can you-
I'm just looking at the wording for confusion,
And I
that's all.
think that maybe that's because of the way that it says private coaching. Could you maybe change the word private to privately coaching or privileging individual participants? I think adding it as like you're privately coaching someone at a practice.
It was just,
I
understand what you're
where
saying,
Yeah,
how
I
you're
see.
saying it.
So how about if I say avoid engaging in
Coaching privately or-
solely coaching or privileging individual participants during school-sponsored
Something like that.
team activity.
Yeah, I think that would
time.
help
Something like
clarify
that,
Sure.
yeah, because what you
School-sponsored.
said
I-
makes sense.
I can,
I just didn't read it that way.
I can further
And I think
clarify that.
others may read it that way too,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
oh, wait, I can't privately coach,
Yeah.
like outside of, yeah.
We can change that.
That's just,
Yeah.
I think it's just clear, and that makes sense how you said it. The second question I have, is there anything, and this might be somewhere else, a evaluation that's, I know we had talked at one point of an evaluation of an advisor or a coach that's done by, in this case, the director of athletics. Is that in this policy, is it not in a policy, is that just in AR, or don't we do that?
So letter F is coaches and advisors are subject to performance reviews, expectations, and
Oh.
consequences. Yeah.
You said it.
And we do that. I will, so part of, my reflection on this is, and this is because we changed the supervisory role and expanded it. So we now have a director of athletics and student activities, not just an athletic director.
Right.
So we need to now start working on having those feedback mechanisms for more of like the club advisors and stuff like that. Certainly, this year I would say let's try to start focusing on, this year and the next year, things like, marching band and theater. We'll need time to figure out do we really want to drill down to things as individual as like the garden club here at Slatington Elementary School. I need to think through that a little bit more. But this certainly leaves the door open for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think that's important too. Like if you're the lead singer in the choral, you might need a little bit more time than somebody who's just walking on stage or whatever, you know, so, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and I think of it as like kind of like differentiation in the classroom. We know certain times we're going to need to give more support to certain students, but if we're only working with that particular student in the classroom, we're doing it wrong. Yeah. So I'm looking at, are we comfortable if this goes to, for first reading in March?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I think I'm next here, so just give me 1 second. Okay. So we also talked about, so I'm going to switch topics now, and this is going back to handbook language, specifically focusing on fighting where one student is a clear aggressor. Okay. Last time we had a community member here which has been an ongoing participant in this conversation. She reached out to me earlier today and let me know that she was not going to be here this evening, but she still wanted to be an ongoing participant. She did ask if we could delay any decisions on this. I said, well, we're not making decisions tonight because this is a committee meeting, so there's not going to be any formal action taken. But I did share with her that administration strongly recommends this language, which I think is fair to say is probably a little short of what that community member was looking for. She was looking for more, I guess like more of like a legal reference in here, maybe some more authority, maybe more aligned to actual law. My response back was that this is policy, school district policy, which we think strengthens our ability to enforce action, but also allows us to consider things on a case-by-case basis. And it does not remove the right from our school district police officers to be able to do their work if they feel there's some sort of criminal action that they need to address. And it also doesn't inhibit a family from pursuing their own private legal action in some way. My concern is I don't want this to drift too far to look like an actual law. I think we need to kind of keep it in the framework of this is, and I shouldn't have even said policy, this is handbook language, which now affords us the opportunity to say, in this case, this particular event, young man or young woman, you were the clear aggressor here, and administration is going to recommend expulsion, or young man, young woman, you were a victim here and by no way initiated this conflict, and you followed all the staff direction and tried to separate as immediately as possible. You are not going to be disciplined for this. Whereas before it was more of, if you're both involved, you're both being disciplined. Additionally here, and then we had to change, and this is, so we looked through this a number of times since last time. Initially, this phrase right here said 10 days. A minimum suspension of 10 days up to and including recommendation. And the more we talked about it, we realized if we did that, we were violating due process rights. Because we can't automatically go to 10 days. They have to have something that's called an informal hearing or an informal meeting. And that usually happens at the day 3 mark. So we would have to suspend for 3, have an informal meeting, consider any new evidence brought forth, and then decide if we're going to extend it up to and including expulsion. So that's due process that we're obligated to give those students. So that's why that's different there. And then the other part was down here when we talked about what happens if students are bringing out their phones during this event and they're recording it, sharing it. And we had one thing I love about my administrative team, our administrative team, is that we have really difficult conversations and we challenge each other. And that helps us kind of shape what we bring forward to the school board for recommendation. This is different. This now says any student proven to have used an electronic device to record or distribute audio, video recordings or photographs of a fight or physical altercation may be disciplined up to and including expulsion instead of will be. And we switched it to maybe because we are able to identify some circumstances where maybe we're not going to go to expulsion if something like this happens. And we kind of ran through a couple different scenarios. coming back to this particular part of the event, the peripheral potential disciplinary events that are going on kind of simultaneously to the main event, we need to really consider case by case. And there may be circumstances where somebody pulls out a phone, but we're not going to expel them. But it could lead to that. This language, that one sentence added to the handbooks would now open up that door for us where we could say, you did this, it was deliberate, you were live streaming it, blasting it out on social media, sending it to your friends. Yeah, we now think that may be expulsion worthy, and we're going to really look at that. So we changed that language from the last iteration.
Because someone could actually be recording because it's a crime of, you know.
That was actually one of the examples.
Yeah.
And then they bring it only to an administrator to say, this is what really happened.
I like
Question
that.
about the suspension, is that in-house suspension?
These would be,
External.
these would be out-of-school suspensions. Yes.
And then if we lose cell phones in the
3
district.
days off, is that right?
Then you just take it out.
Which also might change if the state passes their no
That's what I'm
cell
talking
phone
about.
rule.
And if legislation is passed specifically to Pennsylvania about cell phones, well, then it's legislation and we're obligated to follow it, but this is what I anticipate. They're going to turn it into legislation, but it's still going to be a punt back to the districts to decide what to do with it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's my guess.
It's a local
That's
decision.
Past practice.
It's a local decision.
So, and I did offer to that parent that, I'm happy to meet with her after this and just kind of follow up with her as well. But for this evening, we're looking for this to be supported for us to then take back and make part of the handbook.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it meets what we're looking for personally.
This is a common question. Is the draft language that's listed here going to be part of all 4 handbooks?
I would recommend that we do it,
Thank you.
we would do it at each building level.
Just to be consistent?
I-
For this purpose, there are certain things I get that might not be, but for this purpose?
I suspect that typically these type of events are with the older children, but it does happen with the younger children. But even then, with the younger children, we really, not that we do this anyway, but there's a whole lot of other questions that we got to work through if I'm talking about 2 7-year-olds here.
Right.
Yeah. So. Okay, I think I'm sensing
Yes.
consensus here. I appreciate this. This has been a multi-month process, and these type of conversations are important for us to progress. So, thank you, everyone. And I believe at this point, we'll turn it back over to Dr. Stoker. And Dr. Stoker, do you want me to control this now? You're going to drive?
Yeah.
All right.
You're gonna try.
Passenger princess.
All right, so the policies that I have on the policy committee for this evening are mainly coming about due to the school code changes. There were several school code changes. Some were effective immediately and some are kind of paced out over the next few years. So those are results of those changes. So the first one is policy 204, attendance. Are there any questions on that policy? Not hearing any, do the board members present support moving that policy to Monday night for a first reading?
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you. The next policy is 218.1, weapons. Any questions on that policy?
Sorry about that.
Not hearing any questions, do the board members present support moving that policy to a first reading on Monday night?
Yes.
Okay, the next group are procurement policies. So these policies have changed based upon every January, the procurement thresholds change. But also, two of our policies were somewhat antiquated, so in talking to Mrs. Molatoris in the business department, we decided to kind of scrap the older policies that we had that were significantly old and put the new ones into place. In doing so, we also said that because those procurement thresholds change every January, we would have to bring those policies back every January, so it just makes sense to write that in such a way that the thresholds will be an AR each January. But we keep the policies the same as much as possible unless there's additional recommendations for changes.
Can you explain the difference between public bid and written or telephonic price quotation?
Public bid and what, Tim?
Public bid or written or telephonic price quotation?
So public bid has to be public bid if it's over a certain threshold. So it's just the 24,000, correct.
Right.
It must be publicly bid.
Okay.
The other one is over, I think it's 13,000?
13,200.
Yeah. You need to get 3 quotes, and we're saying they can either be telephonic or, but you need 3 quotes, and you do not have to go out for a professional bid for it.
So you could just call somebody and they can
Correct,
verbally give
and
you a
we
bid.
would just
Okay.
say to them, please send us something in writing that that's
Okay.
what you're offering it
All
to
right.
sell to us
All
for.
right.
Yeah,
I know it sounds probably a stupid question, but
usually we gather those through email and then we just keep those on file.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are on policy 610. Any additional questions on policy 610? Not hearing any, do we have the ability to move that policy forward for first reading on Monday night? Okay.
We're good.
Policy 611 is purchases budgeted. Again, this is another one that was a full rewrite to update it. Any questions on that policy?
Can you explain the difference? So just to go back to that question of the subject to public bid or not, does that, where does like things like CoStar fall into that? Because there's certain things, like there's obviously something that's deciphering, or what does this entail that our larger projects might not, like if it's a new AC unit?
So CoStars is a public bid through Pennsylvania. So if it is not federal monies, because CoStars you cannot use as federal, because basically CoStars is a state-ran program, so you could use them instead of going out for a formal bid, because CoStars has said, we've got these 8 vendors that are all doing this, and CoStars is saying, these are your 8 choices. So they've kind of done the bidding for us in advance, and then we could just pick from CoStars. If we don't get a CoStars bid, then we have to go out for bid.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And there is a federal system called PEPM, so if we have federal monies that we have to use, there is a kind of like the same type of system at the federal level as well.
So what distinguishes between federal and other monies? Would it be grants or something?
Grants,
Okay,
correct,
all right.
correct. Any money that we're getting from the federal government, you have to make the UGG requirements and do the actual bidding and stuff that you have to do. Correct.
Any other questions on that policy?
Everyone okay with Jack? Yes, thank you for the clarification.
I'm sorry, I just have one quick question. I see on the bottom, it says this policy is recommended for audit purposes. Did our auditors say anything about that, or is this just?
No.
So each of these policies is recommended for different reasons, like liability, auditing, so there are different reasons we have to have each of these policies. That's what that statement's about.
Okay, thank you, because I thought you were great about it.
Yep. No, that's just PSBA saying you have to have this policy because
That's
this
the
reason.
category goes, okay.
Some are mandated.
Yep. Okay, next group of policies is under safety and security related topics. So the first one is 805, emergency preparedness. This is a current policy. The policy itself is not changing. Just some of the attachments and some of the ways we have to handle things are changing. So we're not looking for anything to essentially be moved forward there. Just, are there any questions on policy 805? Okay, not hearing any. Again, we don't need any movement on that one. That's just really informational. Policy 805.1, relations with law enforcement. Any questions on that one? Okay, not hearing any questions. Are we okay to move that one forward for a first reading for Monday night?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And policy 805.2, which is school security personnel. Any questions on that policy? Okay, again, not hearing anything. Can we move that one forward to Monday night for a first reading? All right, those are all the policies that we have for this evening. So I'll put it back to Mrs. Husak.
Sounds good. Any other questions or discussion for policy this evening? All right, I'll go ahead and close policy and turn it over to Mr. Weber.
Okay, I'd like to open the technology committee meeting and turn it over to Mr. Hill.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Weber.
Dr. Lee, you want to take it back or do you want me to?
Sure, I can take it back.
School safety committee meeting is tomorrow, by the way, right? Yeah. So they know not to come to that.
All right, first item I have on my agenda tonight is the HPE Server Center storage controller upgrade. I provided a description in the board update last week to explain this a little deeper, so I'll kind of keep this brief, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask at any time. But our Nimble storage controller is a critical piece of our network infrastructure. It basically is the controller that operates our high-speed memory on our server center, so it is a critical piece of network infrastructure. We were originally looking to replace our server center. We were looking at 2028 time frame, but we were looking at our Nimble storage, the service contract that we have on it. In case something goes bad, they'll come out and replace it right away. That runs out in 2026. And we were looking at the cost of that, and we were looking at the cost of we were notified that was going to be end of life in 2028, and they have a new controller out. So we were looking at the cost of extending the server contract or the service contract versus buying the new one. It looks like it's a lot better for us just to purchase a new one now. And what that would do is that could then extend the life to our server center from replacing it in 2028. It will extend the life out to 2031 because the actual servers, the server part of it, their end of life is actually 2031. So we could extend that out another 3 additional years from that 2028 date. So I did receive a quote for that, and the quote is included here. That includes the actual update. It includes installation, configuration. That also includes 5-year software hardware support. It includes their best support, which is a 4-hour replacement service. And that would then take us to that 2031 date. We would be covered up until 2031. So that quote is for the actual controller is $25,223.41, and then for the 5-year support piece of it is $22,572. So the total of that is $47,795.41.
What are we paying now compared to what we?
Well, we already purchased it, but if we were just to extend, that's a great question. If we were just to extend the support of that, because our support runs out in September of 2026 coming up. So I already had this in my budget plan for this year. The quote we received for that was because it's becoming end of life, it's getting close to the end of life. To extend that service contract would be $14,728.80 per year.
So we actually be paying less.
Yeah, we would be, yes, exactly. So,
Again, when noted that my committee is saving money.
so the HP lease, I have the next thing there is the lease, because we don't want to pay for it up front for the total cost. So I asked, what can we do with HPE if we could lease that? And They actually gave us a lease, and this was actually updated this morning. The lease I gave you the other day, I received a new lease this morning with a lower number because the interest rates came down just slightly apparently. So would be 5 annual payments of $10,650.16, and that includes a $1 buyout. And our first payment for that, when we install it, they give you a 90 days, so that would be taken out of my 2026 budget. And again, I already had the 14,000 whatever in the budget, so I think based on when you look at getting a new controller and then extending the server life out to 2031, to me, I think it just makes sense to go ahead and get the new controller. So that's what it is, and that would be on my, that's already included in my budget. So my question is, well, first of all, does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. And then what I'd like to do is have the permission to put that on the board agenda for Monday night's meeting.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
No brainer.
Yes, we're spending less money to get something newer, so. And it actually just works out better.
I can take it 10,000 if you do this, end the conversation. We'll move right on, so.
Yeah, so I think that's a win-win for everybody. Next thing I have on there is more informational. I have it listed under fiber. One of the things we're looking at doing is not this summer, but the following summer, we're looking at doing a network switch upgrade. Like it would be an E-rate project. Would be the summer of 2027. Yes, thank you. So we're looking to do the network switch that year. One of the things though we need to do before we do that is we currently have older style fiber at Peters Elementary, the middle school, and also at the high school. We're okay here at Slatington Elementary, but at those locations, we do need to update our fiber to a single mode fiber in order to work with we're already looking at the switches that we would likely be putting in down the road in 2027. So one of the things we need to do is we need to update that fiber. So our staff can do that. But we do need to purchase that fiber, so I'd like to purchase that out of my budget now so we can start doing that installation as we have time. Let's get it run. That way we're ready for 2027. We're ready to put the network switches in. So that costs, and in addition to that, we also would like to run some of the fiber at the Bulldog Stadium as well. That would go from the press box, obviously, out to the new scoreboard, and then we would also then have it prepared that at some point we could finish it and run it around to the away side bleachers, because right now we have nothing over there for network. So that's something we could continue down the road. So we would kind of get that prepped as well. So looking to spend approximately $4,500 out of my budget to do that. That would be a not to exceed number. I already have that in my budget, so that would just be funded through the technology budget. So just wanted to put that out for informational purposes. Does anybody have any comments or any questions about that?
Thank you.
You might have said this, but is this including for the new scoreboard?
Well, it would be fiber for the stadium, yeah. So it's going to be like in the press box. We would have it in the press box, and then it would also go out to the new scoreboard, yes.
So you have to dig a trench and run it out? Is that good?
I think that's a topic for, yeah. That would be something that we would do with the maintenance department. The maintenance department would get involved with that. We would actually just do the fiber piece of it. So the maintenance department would do that.
Aren't you lucky? Ditches now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I have. Any other questions?
Everybody's good with that?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, I'd like to close the committee meeting and turn it over to Natalie. So,
Okay, and I would like to open up the Building and Grounds Committee and turn it over to Mr. Mann.
Thank you. First on my agenda is we're going to have 2 contracts that we have to renew. The first contract, both of them are for transportation. The first contract is for our TransFinder. This is for the support, the upgrades, Route Finder, the GPS connection, the hosting of the satellite. I went to Mr. Wanamaker. We tried to get a multi-year contract. They won't do it for the hardware. I don't know if it's because the hardware may become outdated, and then ultimately it's a company. They want you to buy the newer hardware. So they won't go with more than a 1-year contract, unfortunately. So the total for that is $10,373. Is there any questions on that? This is all going to be coming out of the transportation budget. It's already in there, it's already figured.
Any questions?
Any questions?
No? Okay.
Do I have approval, or can I take it to Monday night for approval?
Yep, that's good.
Thank you. So then the second part is, again, they're all under TransFinder. These are just different segments of TransFinder that we use. So the next part, the next contract is actually for the Samsara side of TransFinder. This is the actual GPS hardware itself that we were able to get a 3-year contract with. That does the real-time pictures that we can actually track the busing with. That's what this side does, the Samsara. Do I have any questions
Any
with
questions,
that?
anyone?
And that 38 is, that covers all of our vans, our buses, the new school vans that we actually have. That covers we can watch each individual van or school bus move through that Samsara.
And everyone is okay with moving this to the board agenda?
Thank you very much. So next, as everyone has been seeing in the Friday updates, are the directional signs. So we have quite a few mock-ups that we've received from different companies. 2 of the companies are fairly close in their total pricing. I believe it's $140 difference. One company, Bardish, we've used before. They did the LED signs. The other company, KC, we haven't dealt with before, but I can't see any reason why we couldn't. The next thing is Bardish, they're willing to start production and then actually wait till July to invoice us, till the next school budget. KC hasn't returned anything on that yet. I did email them both.
Are these aluminum
These are all steel.
or steel? I would definitely move as soon as you can. Prices are
going up.
fluctuating very quickly.
Yeah. So the first direction I believe we would need tonight is which sign is everyone liking as far as the looks, the appearance, what you would like on the boards.
Is there either one that you like better because of something it does for its purpose?
The one I think I like the most is the general Northern Lehigh School District. I'm not opposed to anything else on it, a bulldog or a seal or something like that. I just think it makes it looks a lot cleaner.
I agree.
A lot cleaner, more professional. I still like the arc on the top.
I like that.
I like the arc.
So the arc, I think it's number 1 or 2, Dr. Link, in the first one of Bardish.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm sorry.
Nope, I think it's the next one down.
That
Yep,
one.
keep going.
No,
Well, that's
not
just
that
the
one.
arch.
No,
That one.
no. No, that one
But
with
there
the
is one
arch.
with an arch that's just simply.
Yeah,
Yep.
that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I
the
think that
the
looks nice.
single color, all white reflective lettering, even with the arch, it just makes it look more
Yeah.
professional. The dark background with the white reflective lettering, I think is gonna get a better contrast at
And
night.
high off the ground.
Correct.
I think adding logos and stuff to it just makes it too busy.
Yeah.
So- And we have logos everywhere, so I feel like we don't really need it on those signs.
So this design here, that's all the different kind of verbiage.
Yeah.
And Chris, what was the Mr. Mann, I'm sorry, what was the total cost on this? And let's see.
So this would be $15,905 for all the signs.
We did administratively have a conversation about potentially one more sign. So we have this one here, which is really right out back here for our warehouse loading dock. What we've noticed over the years is oftentimes our food service deliveries for Mrs. Fink's department pulls up to that loading dock or out front, or they're just driving around the neighborhood looking for food services.
Are they standing there waving? Hey, I'm here.
Well,
Sometimes I meet them out back and,
says receiving.
so we would like to have another sign like this one, but specific for food services delivery for the lot, for the parking lot where that loading dock is. And that would be about another $3,000, I believe.
Okay, well, yeah, that's close enough, 4,000 roughly, because
Yeah,
if there's
it's
only
close.
16.
Yep, and we may be able to get a better deal again, because we're doing this one now.
Yeah.
They're gonna start production. Nothing's changing. It's still the same size. Everything's the same except the lettering. So again,
I would say that the Bardish Company, over the years that we've worked with them through design, manufacturing, and installation, we've never had an issue with them. And the fact that they're willing to begin manufacturing but not invoice until July 1st, our new budget cycle, like I recommend Bardish.
That's great.
So there's one sign down here between here and the stadium. It looks like it got crushed by the snow. These are gonna be a lot more durable than that.
correct.
Okay.
They're gonna be made of steel, so.
Yeah, they're gonna be steel posts. The biggest thing is like Mrs. Snyder, they're off the ground. I don't know if.
I take it
3 foot
somebody
off the ground.
decided we were gonna get new signs anyway, and just decided to take that one out.
Well, no, that was, I don't think it was on purpose.
El Tracy had gotten
Yeah.
beautiful signs, maroon,
They are gonna be powder
but they all
coated.
faded.
I'm sorry,
Are
what?
they getting powder coated?
I believe they're powder coated, everything's gonna be powder coated, and then it's gonna be vinyl lettering on top.
Okay. Just maybe ask about some type of touch-up paint for that,
Sure.
maybe if you need it, because sometimes the powder coating doesn't always last.
Yep, yeah.
Good idea.
It does come through sometimes.
Sure.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, just-
And Mr. Mann, Mrs. Molatoris just pointed out a correction. It should really say middle school, not junior high school. On any sign where it says junior high, it should say
Yeah.
middle school.
Yeah.
All right.
They actually went off of our old signs.
The old
so our old
signs,
signs should say junior.
Oh,
Yeah.
did they?
Yeah. So, all right, thank
Yeah,
you.
I can make that.
Okay?
And I apologize, you might have said it. Are these reflective?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, thank you.
Yep.
Great.
My apologies.
No, that was the biggest reason why we like the solid color instead of the two-tone, and then the dark background with the white lettering. It should have better contrast at night. Yeah.
Does anyone have any other questions for this?
No, I like it. I think it's a good choice. It's clean
And are we gonna be requesting to have this on the board agenda then with that change
I'll
in
need
price? Yeah.
approval.
I mean approval, yeah, sorry. Okay.
We can indicate on the board agenda to be funded through the 26, 27 school year budget.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Next on my agenda is the gym doors at the high school. We had received the bid back, I think you can remember 2 months ago about the gym doors. This is to replace the hardware and update the hardware on the gym doors. It came up again in our safety assessment. It's the old style U, where there's a safety concern because people can chain it or they can manipulate the doors and to help prevent people from exiting. This is to do all 3 doors at the school. So all 3 inside doors would then be the more modern push type, lockable from the outside as well as the inside. So then you would have the capability of housing protecting inside the gym. And then we would eliminate that concern of the old style push bars or panic bars.
Is the auditorium the push?
Yes,
Okay.
so that would be coming up next.
Uh-huh.
We'll have to work through that. That'll be coming up
Right,
next.
okay.
But the gym seems to be open all the time. We
Yeah.
have kids in the gym all the
Yeah.
time. The auditorium's not as much. And when there aren't kids in there, we do keep that locked.
Okay.
So, that's why we're kind of looking towards the gym first. And as you can see, it's kind of expensive to upgrade them.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to kind of try and
Chunk away.
manage that throughout, to try and get them updated.
Does anyone have any questions? Does he have?
And again, this would come out of my budget,
Okay.
so just to,
Permission to move it to the board? Okay.
I appreciate it.
These have nothing to do with exterior doors, correct? These are just interior.
These are just interior doors for now,
Got it.
correct. Yeah, because actually the
So-
exterior doors at the gym are the new style push bars. They're not the old panic bars.
Got it.
So then the whole gym itself would be the same. Yep.
They close very loud.
Yeah, well,
They scare me. I jump every time they close.
yeah. And so last on my agenda, if everyone read our update, we are clear. We received our NOT certificate for baseball and softball. So the NOT is the notice of termination. So all permits pertaining to anything dealing with softball, baseball, the practice football field, soccer, the new water basin, that is all finished. They signed off on that. I have paperwork in my office. So the next thing that I think the board needs to think about is how do we allow and who do we allow to play on our new softball and baseball fields. Again, we do have some sports that play on our grass fields, field hockey or the turf. But something to think about, there is no fee schedule for softball and baseball. We do have a fee schedule for the stadium. So anyone that plays on our stadium outside of Northern Lehigh students or Northern Lehigh time frame would be charged.
What do other districts with similar facilities do? Have you checked with?
So the majority of them do charge for baseball and softball.
Okay.
Most facilities, Northampton, I believe, was one, Northwestern. Parkland, you have to be careful because Parkland has numerous different fields, and I don't know what they all are. Some of them they do charge, others they don't. They do have them listed as different fields, but I'm not sure which ones are which. But yes, the majority of the school districts charge, and I understand why. Our new baseball and softball fields have what they call clay underlayment. So what that is on your pitcher's mounds and your batting boxes, instead of just having your normal dirt infield, there's actual clay bricks underneath so that you can't dig a hole. If you watch the pros, they're on the mound kicking away and there's nothing moving. Well, that's because there's clay underneath there. So it gives you the idea that you're actually kicking dirt out, but it won't. If they're not maintained properly, and over years, it deteriorates and you have to purchase new bricks. Mr. Green, you may remember we did have clay bricks at one time on softball and baseball. And over the years, they got rid of them because they are expensive to replace.
I can dig big holes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I think for this evening, we just kind of, administration would like a little direction about, do you even want us to consider it? And then come up with what the fee schedule a proposed fee schedule, and that would mean like what groups, right? What does a particular group fall into, like we do for the gyms or the stadiums, whether it's an inside group, an outside group, that type of stuff. But also, this is a brand new complex, and we haven't even had a season to play on it yet. And do we want to make sure that we're happy with how everything is before we even start to consider opening it up to non-Northern Lehigh School District teams? So I just, how quickly would you like us to move on this, if you want us to move on this at all?
How many people do you have outside of the Northern Lehigh that generally were using it? I mean,
Nobody was,
I know
nobody
Chad
was
had
using
mentioned
it
something
previously.
that there's an,
It wasn't
Yeah.
of interest.
We've had one, Connie Mack was a
Okay.
team that had came and was asking about it.
Okay.
That was about it so far. But now along with Connie Mack, you have Legion, and then there's other balls
Right.
associated with that.
They're going to want to use it.
Right.
What
Right.
about all those kids that were out in the field with the hockey nets and the,
oh, the field hockey?
no, it wasn't field hockey. I was it football, base,
Lacrosse?
no, it wasn't, I don't even remember now, but they were just outside the middle school, in that field.
It could have been
Yeah.
softball. I mean, I know
Yeah.
softball uses that small, middle school softball uses the.
But this wasn't, these weren't middle school, these were
No?
just
Right. keep it
Little
competitive.
League.
Okay, yep. Well, so now Little League wouldn't use our fields because our fields have a mound and they're 60-foot, 90-foot bases.
Okay,
Little-
they were just, they were training in that area, is what they were doing.
Right, if we open it up to outside groups,
Inundated
the
with
immediate
kids.
impact on the field, you don't know, it could deteriorate the field. I think, we may want to consider getting through a full season and seeing how, and making sure that, everything's truly rooted and grown in and working like we want it to work.
I like the idea of protecting our baby for a year.
Can you have signs on the fences that keep out without permission or something like
Not
that?
yet. We want to get, there's a couple signage that we want to look into. No T-balls against fence, no hitting balls against the fence. A lot of times if you travel, you'll see where kids will put T-ball, a T-stick in front of a fence and hit the ball into it. Well, that dents the fence, and before you know it, you have a fence that's bowed out. So we want to get signage for that, but we don't have a
But you're
keep
planning
out
to do that,
sign,
okay, all right.
yeah.
No dogs allowed?
Well, that's why it's fully fenced.
Well, the other area is fenced and the dogs go in there too.
Well,
Well, they shouldn't be because
Right.
it's supposed to be security each night. Yeah.
Well,
So what, again, what direction are you looking for?
Do you want administration to come up with a proposal for fees and who can use it, or, and have that ready for it to be potentially used by outside groups this spring?
Not for the spring.
Not for the spring.
All right, so we'll come up with a plan and bring it back to committee, but right now, we're not gonna entertain any requests for it to be used this spring.
no,
Okay.
Take your time on it, yeah.
I think that gives us,
Can I add that policy 707 as our facilities use one, and that's the policy that we had brought a couple years ago, I think, at this point. So the fee schedule, if you're looking for like the fees of the other facilities, that's attached to the bottom of that policy, so 707.
okay, I think that gives us direction.
Direction.
Mr. Mann, are you
Yes,
comfortable with that?
I am. I
that it?
appreciate everyone.
Our spring team is going to play on them, right?
Our team.
Our teams, yes, yes. Our middle school, our JV, our varsity, baseball, middle school, softball, varsity ball, yes.
Not used by
Our
outside
plan is to-
organizations.
Right, no one from the outside until we know for certain everything, is established, the grass is established. That gives my guys at least a year to kind of learn how to work with the clay and, how the field itself works, before we're bringing a lot more people onto it,
Did I hear you say it's not suitable for younger students? based on the
Correct.
Okay, that's
Correct.
for baseball.
Yep. Now softball's different. Softball's one distance. Baseball's different distances with different age groups.
The mound moves for softball, but
Bound the
not,
amount, okay.
not
Because I remember there was comment before
Baseball,
about
yeah.
younger kids using the field from
Yep.
someone.
Baseball uses a mound at high school, not in Little League,
Okay.
so it changes.
Okay, so, any more questions then? None?
Today was the big opening day. When are the fields actually ready? Or were they playing today and I just didn't see them because I wasn't up here yet?
No,
Are they
so
still
so the
snow
fields are
covered?
still pretty wet. I think today the last little bit of snow might have melted.
It'll be back
Um,
tomorrow.
knock on wood, we don't get that much more,
day.
and we get the warm days. But they were, I think, Mr. Huffman was out on the fields doing some raking today, just trying to get a feel of how wet they were. But knock on wood, hopefully in the very near future,
So our
we'll be on.
maintenance team is gonna make the call of technically that field's open or not,
Correct.
not our coaches.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you. That's what the answer I was hoping for.
Yes.
Because the coaches will tell you they're ready to go right now, we wanna get out in the fields.
Correct.
And I don't wanna see them wrecked, right? And I wanna make sure the kids are on it and able to use it all season, but they're just not there yet.
Right. And in the past, it was that way too. It was the grounds
Right.
crew along with Mr. Geist and Mr. Tout would walk the fields and determine if they were playable or not. We didn't rely on coaches. Nothing against the coaches, but they just want to play. And sometimes it's not safe. Other times, it's just, it needs more work than we could actually do. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. No one has any more questions? We're gonna close up the buildings and grounds. and
Thank you very much.
Turning it over to finance. Donna.
Oh, yeah, I'm flipping pages. Nikki, finally.
I have no new update.
Wow, oh my gosh, you sat through all of this for nothing. Oh, thank you for coming.
No problem. Any questions or anything?
Did you get your signs yet?
No, I did not.
Okay, I was just curious.
Scaling back, I think. I'm still in the works working with a couple different people to figure out what direction to go with that. But hopefully by next month,
Okay,
have something, to present for you all.
okay.
I loved your March flyer, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I did also. I like getting that, so thank you.
Thanks.
That's nice to receive. Cool. Well, thanks for being here. Nope,
All right.
thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. So who does this, Sherry or Matt?
We're going to kind of share it. So we shared out in this past Friday's school board update a kind of first draft of a 10-year capital projects plan. So this would focus on really facilities. So we're not talking about things like equipment or payroll or materials. This is really about capital improvement projects over the next 10 years. So this is an outgrowth of the feasibility study that we had done in October of 2024. We wanted to take those recommendations and say, okay, when we're looking just at our 4 schools, the stadium, the grounds, and our administration building, how do we want to start to begin to prioritize the work that needs to be done over the next 10 years to address recommendations on, honestly, larger type projects in the school district? So we're talking about life cycle evaluation, working with outside expert consultants, and then just kind of monitoring conditions annually and oftentimes within the year about, okay, maybe this particular project needs to move up or other projects need to move back.
Just checking in on my phone.
We just seen the winter weather
Yes,
thing.
yes, there's a winter weather update on there.
Just this
Popped up.
And this is what teachers deal with in the classroom about trying to focus attention. So, life learning there.
They get that.
So,
Boy, I went to school. a long
when we,
time ago.
just a super quick high-level snapshot of our buildings. Peters Elementary School was built in 1954 with additions in 66 and 92. K to 12, its capacity is 450, and we're currently at 370 students as of February of 2026. Slatington Elementary, built in 73 with a considerable renovation and addition in 2011. Grades 3 to 6, capacity of 525, currently at 500 students. Middle school, which was originally the high school, was built in 59, renovated in 82. Grades 7 and 8, capacity of 315, we're at 250. And then the high school, built in 81, additions in 2002, and then a science wing improvements in 2019. We're at capacity of 570, and we're currently at 503. Capacity is based on the Pennsylvania Department of Education calculations. That was all kind of shared out through the feasibility study. And the enrollment figures are reflective of just this past month. And approximately 26% of the Northern Lehigh High School student population attends LCTI either for the morning, the afternoon, or some of them even for the entire school day. So when we're talking about things like long-term capital improvement projects, we have to be cognizant of our current budget status. So Mrs. Molatoris is going to talk a little bit about some of our plan transfers, our annual review process, and then the impact on future capital expenditures.
So you can go down to the next screen. I'll just
Sure.
highlight where we're currently at. So as you can see, the top there is our general fund balance. So between 2021 going to 2024, we started out in 2021 with an ending funding balance of about 12.1, almost 12.2. And we ended the 24-25 with 18.566. If you scroll down a little bit, please, Dr. Link. So this is where our capital reserve balance is. So we never really transferred a lot of money into capital reserve. If you look at 2021, 2022, pretty much stagnant. And then 2023, 2024 and on, we got into that agreement with St. Luke's where they're starting to give us money for loyalty sponsorships, community partnerships. They took off the yearly cost that we would pay for our athletic trainers. So we kept that in our budget, knowing we weren't paying that anymore, but we were going to continue to roll that money over into capital reserve to help offset some of the costs that we incurred for the baseball, softball field. And that cost was going to be used to kind of recoup some of that money. So currently right now we sit at $324,000 in our capital reserve fund balance. Having said that though, just last month you approved that $3 million. So in the 25-26 school year, when I get to adding that there, you're gonna see that number jump up to 3.3 million. But on the flip side of that, that upper number, what was 18.556, that's going down by $3 million. So this is just how we want to start strategically moving money out of our general fund and putting it into our capital reserves for all of these future long-range maintenance and upgrades and upkeeps that we have to do to our buildings and our facilities, which is going to be listed in the next couple of slides.
So what we're going to show you next is a 10-year kind of spreadsheet of the projects that we're prioritizing to be done over those 10 years in the current order, right? We understand that this is a living document and that may change based on the will of the board and the need of the buildings. Some of the cells that you're going to see are going to be blank. They're like a light blue shade. That's because we don't know, right? Especially for some of those projects, you're going to see that we're going to make a recommendation after this and that we get some outside help in trying to narrow down what those numbers, what an accurate representation of those numbers would be for this 10-year plan to help the school board make informed decisions as they approve the budget this upcoming year and years to come. So for the 26-27 school year, that's this column right here, there's a number of things that have already, action has already been approved. And there's some things on here that we don't yet know what the projected cost is going to be. And there's some things on here that we have a pretty good idea what the cost is going to be. And we're going to recommend that they go into the budgetary process for the budget that we're currently working on. So we have the high school chillers. That project's already been approved. We're going to move forward with that. We have the high school additional flooring matching funds. If you recall, this is our 25% of the public schools facility improvement grant that Mr. Mann was successful in getting for about $800,000 to go towards floors at the high school. This year, because of that, we're obligated to commit $270,000. We've also already approved the turf and track replacement project at the stadium, so that's that $750,000, as well as a school scoreboard replacement. That's in here because we're paying for it up front, but the foundation has committed to pay us back for that over approximately 5 years. However, it's still an initial outlay for us, so we're showing it in here. We know that in particular around the high school, the cement work, the sidewalks, the ramps are rapidly deteriorating, the curb cuts. And for those of you that were able to do that first walkthrough, we were able to see how some of the concrete pads are actually crumbling. Some of them are 2 to 3 inches below the pads next to them. Some of the curb cuts for handicap accessible are also crumbling. And we want to be able to go out and work with contractors to say, you know, kind of narrow down what that price would be to fix that work. We also really want to incorporate, so this is kind of a program curriculum type of thing, but it manifests in an actual change to the building. At the high school, we would like to incorporate an independent living apartment for our life skills students at the high school, so they can truly learn what it looks like to manage an apartment, a home, independently. And the best way to teach them that is to actually have them practice that in a facility that looks like an apartment for a young adult. We already have a space that we would identify to do this in, but if we move forward, it would involve things like renovating a bathroom that's currently in there to making it handicap accessible. Wiring, ductwork, ventilation, and plumbing for things like modifying what's in there to more of like a small working, like studio apartment kitchen. A washer dryer unit, those type of things, which is going to be some facility improvements for this space. We think our life skills students at the high school deserve this, and we think it's actually going to set them up for success when they leave us here in Northern Lehigh School District. Exterior door replacements, multiple ones around the perimeter of the middle school. Again, those of you that were able to join us for that walkthrough saw that they're in bad shape, and we need to, and by door replacements, we mean the frame, the center bar, the actual door, and the hardware that goes with the door, and then the locking that we have to go through to get them keyed just for us. Bless you. Middle school, again, what we noticed when we did the walkthrough, the family consumer science classroom at the middle school is the original, you know, appliances, countertops. You know, I jokingly said the other day, it looks like the kitchen in the Brady Bunch. Well, it served its purpose for decades, but we think that those students, that instructor, deserve a space that's more conducive to the number of students that are in there, but also as part of that to reimagine the theory part of the classroom as well as the hands-on part of the classroom. And that is something that we would like to work with. Again, you'll see we're gonna talk about an architect of record to help us truly spec that out, go out for proposals that when we get those proposals, they're truly apples to apples. And we make sure that we're code compliant, as well as meeting all the requirements for going out for the bid process. The intercom system at the middle school would also be for next year, as well as believe it or not, we're struggling getting quotes right now to either repair, more likely replace, the gym floor at Slatington Elementary School. That's the rubber flooring that are common in elementary gymnasiums. It is tearing, it is peeling, it is cracking, there are holes in it. And I believe this week we have one company coming and another one that's committed to come, but they keep kind of kicking it down the road. We would like to look at replacing that gym floor in Slatington Elementary School. Let's see, I'm sorry, I lost my place here. Intercom system at Slatington Elementary School, that would be the next one that's due for replacement. We recently did Peters Elementary School. Bathroom upgrades at the main area, bathroom upgrades at Peters Elementary School, as well as the gymnasium folding wall that we've been talking about for 8 years, and we continue to repair annually. And on a wing and a prayer, we continue to keep it working. We think we should replace that. As well as security camera upgrades in our new athletic fields, baseball, softball, making sure that we have security cameras out there to protect against misuse, vandalism, and certainly on the utility buildings that are at both of those as well, because they're going to store equipment and goods. So for 26-27 school year, for the items that we know, we're looking at approximately $1.8 million. But we know that we have unknowns in here, and we would, administration would appreciate the support of us going out and bringing in an expert to help us kind of fill in those gaps. Unless the committee wants me to, I'm not going to go through each subsequent year. I thought I would focus on the year that's coming up. But these are, you can kind of see, and you have this in your board package from last Friday, what we're looking for, 2027, honestly, out until 2034, 2035. A lot of those that are listed in there are things that were identified in the facility in the feasibility study, like the fire panel replacements, electrical upgrades, bathroom upgrades at the high school and middle school, HVAC control upgrades, network switches, things like that, spread out over 10 years, because we understand we're talking about millions of dollars. We recognize that. We know that, these decisions can't be taken lightly, but we do want to be able to say, put a plan in place that we can sustain through our budget over the next 10 years, which ensures that our buildings are, continue to be healthy buildings, welcoming buildings, safe and secure buildings for our students, employees, and visitors. So this is the model that we would like to follow each year, update each year, and work really hard this year to start filling in some of these blanks so we can bring back and make recommendations for the budgetary process between now and June 30th. Questions on that?
What's UPS?
I'm sorry?
District-wide and UPS, what's that one?
Uninterruptible power source.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's so if our servers and network crash,
Okay.
all the backup is there for an allowable amount of time.
We're not buying UPS. We're not buying a brown UPS truck.
Matt, I had a question.
Sure.
We've talked before about the bathrooms in the high school
Yep.
by the auditorium
Yep.
and the image that it portrays and so forth. Is there any way we could, I don't know if you have dollars for that. I had a note here that showed $30,000 for a student bathroom.
So that was probably, that's a potential for Peters. We don't have a number for that we're comfortable putting out there for the high school or the middle school. And we also recognize that Peters is probably needs the most attention overall as one of our school buildings, because it's been not as maintained, as timely as the other buildings. So we wanted to put an emphasis on Peters this first year, knowing that we still have to address all those, like the middle school kind of public bathrooms, high school public bathrooms. So for those particular ones, we're saying let's wait another year, knowing that recently we've put a considerable amount of money over the past few years into the middle school and high school for planned projects and reactive projects over the last number of years.
Okay, I just know it was a big image issue at the high school. I just wanted to bring that forward.
So again, administrative recommendations of the order, it doesn't mean this is how they have to be.
I don't want to look at individual items, I want to look at the process. So what you're suggesting is we go to our fund balance and we take, I don't know what the number is down there, it was 2 million, whatever, something, out of the fund balance, or $1.8 million, it'll be over 2 till we get all done. Take that out of the fund balance next year and work on those projects, is that?
No, I'm saying the money that we've already moved over from capital, into capital projects or capital reserve, we would start using that money to offset these costs.
Okay.
The first couple ones that are on there, we already approved, and we approved it coming out of capital reserve, knowing that we were transferring that money over there. And I will tell you, one of the reasons for doing that is if there's probably, if you look at all this, and there's a lot of blue boxes in there, we're already up over $27 million in all these projects all the way out through. We don't have that much money to cover it. Not to mention all the blue spots that we don't even have dollars associated with yet. Now, what you have to realize is when we do something like this and we start depleting our fund balance, when we go out for our bonds, that's going to start to hurt us because we've now depleted our fund balance. They don't look at the fact that you've been using it to upkeep and do your buildings. They're just seeing the negativity happening there. And it will end up hurting our bond ratings. So it gets to the point where you have to weigh when's the perfect time to go out for a bond if these are all the projects you're gonna do. And this is what we wanna do. Well, now we need to think about what's our next process. After we decide an architect, we decide what we're doing, we decide where we're moving. Now, what strategically do we wanna do financial-wise? When's that point that we're gonna drop that bucket and say, let's go out for a bond to do $5 or $6 million worth of projects to preserve our fund balance?
So do it all now while you still have a good rating is what you're
Right.
saying.
Right, exactly.
And I think administratively, we recognize, I don't want to speak for everybody at the table, but we recognize that this is probably going to be a three-pronged approach, right? Fund balance, bond issuance, and you're going to have to make some tax adjustments. Because if it's zero, I'm just going to say this, and this is not new information, we say this every year. If you only do a 0 or you do a 1%, we're never going to be able to keep up with the work that we need to do in all areas of operations and facilities. So I think it's really a three-pronged approach over the next decade. So this evening, we're not looking for any direction in all of this. The next year projects are actually going to be I'm going to say emphasized in the budget cycle that we're working on, and we're looking to do that first public budget presentation next week. But we wanted to kind of put out kind of publicly what the process is that we're proposing to come up with a 10-year capital improvements plan.
I think I'm the one who's been emphasizing for quite some time that in the last proposal that we had, which we really didn't do, there was like 37 million or something like that in projects that were necessary, and those aren't going away and they're not getting any cheaper. So I guess what I'm saying is, let's get started on it. They're not going to go away. We're going to have more and more problems if we don't keep up with things. More stuff's going to break, and so I'm not saying I approve of everything or like everything, but I think we should pursue it, and that should be a large part of our budget presentation this year. Moving ahead and getting that plan in place and keeping an eye on next year, the following year, et cetera, because we got to do it. I'm sorry, but that's where we're at. So that's my opinion.
So again, just setting the framework here. Is everybody? Is there any concern if this is the model we kind of follow moving forward?
I like the model. I like doing it a little bit each year and then, decide. I mean, heck, maybe when we go for the bonds, the interest rates will be a lot lower. That's all we can hope for. But I think we do need to do maintenance. It's part of owning all these buildings, and it is what it is. It's not hitting the taxpayers all at once. We may see gradual increases over the years.
Oh, you will.
We will see gradual increases over the years. Hopefully they're not extremely high. Maybe we can keep them in that 2 to 3 range, 3.5, which isn't too hard on the wallet. And with those homesteads, they really do help out. I actually seen a little bit of a reduction in mine. So not my commercial though. I'll make that known.
Because
don't
you
get
don't
it
live
for
there.
that. But I like this. I like this 10-year plan. I do.
Okay, so then what I'm going to show you next is really a continuation of this conversation, and this one's going to be more of a direct recommendation from administration. And that is the idea of moving forward with a dedicated architect of record. Administration is recommending that we go into an agreement with Alloy 5, who conducted our feasibility study, to be our architect of record. Part of the reason of that recommendation is that administration strongly recommending Alloy 5 is because they already have completed so much of this work about getting familiar with our buildings, mapping out areas of concern, areas that are actually working really well, and then helping us use the work that they've already done to refine this 10-year plan, help us come up with drafting RFPs for projects, recommendations for bundling certain projects together in a certain order to be able to maximize our chances to be able to go out and get things like the facility improvement grants or the RCAP grants that are available out there. And for them to say, well, you know, if you're going to focus just on one building, do these projects in this order, and we can help you go out and get bids for that. Or if you want to focus on just HVAC across the district, well, then that's something that's eligible for the PSFIG grants. So to kind of work with their expertise to help us fill in those blanks and make sure that we're getting accurate and credible quotes when we go out for bid. The other part of it, of you know, kind of working with them is, or I should say, if you want to open it up and say, okay, we're actually going to go out for an architect of record, really what we're going to be doing is the same process that we did when we went to go out for, hey, help us do a feasibility study. And we already have results from many of the local architect firms from just about 2 years ago. That's going to delay things. It's certainly not going to help us really to get a jump start on the budget cycle that we're currently working on.
Just delay the project, too.
It's going to delay all, I believe it will. So we are, the other part of this is this agreement, there's only cost to us for what we asked them to do. So we've kind of highlighted Peters Elementary, Northern Lehigh Middle School, and Northern Lehigh High School. That's not to say that there's not work that we're considering for here at Slatington and district office. We just know through the feasibility study, this particular complex that we're in right now is in the best shape compared to the other 3 schools. However, you know, we made sure that they put in this line here, that along with any other additional project the district adds to the capital list, right? Understanding that that's a living document. So how does that work? So whenever we engage them for one of these particular projects, it's 6% of the total estimated project cost. If it's under $2 million, if it's over $2 million, then it jumps to 8%. But what that looks like, though, is just for that particular project that we want them to help us with. And then they break it down, what does that 6% or 8% look like? So, you know, if it's $2 million, 20% of that 6% is basic services during the schematic, so the schematics phase of it. 30% of it is the basic fees, basic services during design development, right? So really what it does is it breaks down that 6% or 8% into what's the component of each of those percentages. And if we have them do nothing for us, it's not like we have to pay them to just kind of be waiting for us. So it's a pay as you access the service type of model. So, you know, administration is recommending that we take this agreement to the March 9th board meeting for consideration by the full school board to approve the move forward or not. So I guess this evening I'm looking for direction of, would this committee like us to take this proposal to March 9th agenda?
Yes.
I do.
Okay, I'm seeing everybody now nod their head yes. Thank you. We will have this on there. Would anybody like a representative from Alloy 5 to be at the March 9th meeting in case you have any questions or anything like that?
No, we've had them here and they've been great, so unless the newer folks would require it, we've already had it, but that's the call.
If anyone wants it for, I don't think they need them for this part of the project, personally. Everybody else does.
Okay, what I'll say then is if between now and I'm gonna say by like Thursday, because I'd like to give them a courtesy few days heads up, if you have any questions, just get them to me, I'll send them to them and get answers to put in the Friday update. Okay? We really appreciate that. We think that this is gonna be a significant step forward in the work that, we wanna do for our students, community, and employees. So we appreciate the support in that. And
Can I ask a process question?
sure.
So you had indicated that the potential of moving items in or out, maybe a year this way, a year that way. When do you anticipate that process to happen? When can we provide input, or when do you want us to provide, or do you not want us to?
I would say as early as
Suggest.
this upcoming Monday it can start. And I think as we get additional recommendations from the architect of record about bundling certain projects or saying this is more urgent than what you have listed for the current year, I will, we will be very transparent and share that back with all of you.
I kind of echo what Donna said earlier, and some of the students have indicated it. The bathrooms at the high school and middle school, some of them actually don't lock the doors. So that just becomes a thing for the students that they're afraid somebody's gonna come in when they're using the restroom. As these students are getting older, it's not a great thing to have happen, right? You don't want it at a young age, but you also definitely don't want it at an older age. I personally would ask to maybe get a ballpark number for the high school and middle school bathrooms for many reasons.
Sure.
But we've been talking about them and kind of keep pushing them off, and it's just not a great place to be for those students and staff in that matter too. So community included.
Like maybe getting a bulk number for
Yeah, I
for
think-
individuals,
Just-
we can decide.
Yeah,
But
what-
even if we just have to do those maybe instead of everything is what you're saying.
Well, the students use all of the restrooms.
Yeah,
and
that's
if-
true.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I went down to the cafeteria area, and the restrooms in there, they were the same restrooms I went to school with just 5 years ago. But just even, they're honestly, not that you want an inviting restroom, but they're not inviting, like, they're not Northern Lehigh quality, and just want to put a little emphasis on that.
I agree with that. That's been a Gale project for a while.
It has
I think we should move forward
It's
with
just-
that.
it's
I
a-
support that, yeah.
It's a thing. There's so many people who, staff included, students included, that just.
It's not fair to them.
It's not our quality when our community members are going in to use them either. It's just.
So what I would propose is, and kind of like what you said, Mrs. Snyder, is if for the bathroom work, we would probably ask them to help us write a request for proposals addressing all bathrooms, but itemized by building.
Perfect.
Yes.
That would be wonderful.
Because I agree with everything you're saying, and I know Peters is also in dire need of support. So I think
My
it's-
suggestion is
yeah.
not to take Peters off.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do like Peters in high school, because maybe those are the two areas that are, utilized the most, for 1 year, and then the next year do, ones that
Yeah.
aren't as heavily used.
And I know it was on for the second year, but we've kind of been talking about it and just haven't moved anything forward on them.
Yeah. So that's the type of support we're looking to get from the architect of record. So, okay.
Yeah, if they can get anything sooner than later for that, I think you'll have board support to do that.
Okay, I don't think there's any other for this, so that's all we have for finance this evening. And I can turn it over to Mrs. Bilby for extra and co-curricular.
All right, I'll open it for extra and co-curricular activities.
Okay, I'm going to share this tonight on behalf of Dr. Rush Wallace, who was at the award ceremony but now has to travel somewhere else. So this is really just informational. We had a number of fall athletes that hit some significant milestones, which you're aware of. In particular, Tegan Sims scoring her 1,000th point on the girls' basketball team, and Kellen Bauer also scored his 1,000th point on the boys' basketball team. And they've both been named first team, Tegan Sims has been first team All-League and Kellen Bauer as second team All-League. And yes, they're only juniors, so they have their entire senior year yet. Michael Bauer received an honorable mention. You see the records there for our winter sports teams. I am very happy to share, some of them did, make it into playoffs. Our girls wrestling team, we do have a member, Anna Trelease, took second at districts, third at regionals, and she has now qualified to go to states. So she'll be heading out there later this week. That's a significant accomplishment. Our bocce team, first year of a unified sports bocce team, went 5-3, and we took second place in the Lehigh League, and we were the host site for that, which is also kind of cool for the first year ever being involved in that particular sport. Kudos to everyone from Mrs. Dada to our two coaches, Mr. Dieter and Mrs. Worley Olasek, and all the athletes that participated. So I know many of you were in the audience, especially when we hosted the league playoffs. And it was like, it was packed like a varsity basketball game. It was so cool to see all those people there supporting these particular student athletes.
It was amazing. You see those kids that typically wouldn't be able to participate in something like that.
Yeah.
They look so proud.
Absolutely. And their parents were so proud, which was also very cool to see. Polar plunge taking place at DeSales. This is a fundraising opportunity through Special Olympics. Also very happy to share, and we just learned this, and I'm going to look to Mrs. Dada just to confirm, the $1,000 stipend to pay the coach that we're getting from Special Olympics, we thought was just a one and done. That's going to continue to help that go towards the coach every year. So we're very happy and grateful for that. Our spring sports officially started today. Our musical Anastasia is March 12th through the 15th. You can buy the tickets through the website. Esports began their new season, participating in Fortnite, Smash Brothers, Marvel Rivals, and Valorant. Back in February, we had a signing day. Ethan Moore is going to continue his soccer career at Eastern University. Grady Newhart is going to continue his football at Washington and Jefferson. And Patrick Conway is going to continue the shooting at Jacksonville University. Our Ring of Honor, we're looking to do March 21st, and this is going to be integrated with the opening day for our new fields. And the opening pitch is going to be by Amy Kroll-Sodders. She's doing the softball opening pitch, and I think we're looking to still identify somebody for baseball. And then our participation rates, I'm really happy with these participation rates for spring sports. We have 37 on the softball team, grades 7 through 12, 42 on the baseball team, grades 9 through 6, and 116 participating in spring track. So a lot going on as we close out winter sports and move into spring sports. And that's the update for ECC.
Are we still looking to do the esports to try to find like a sponsor to do their jerseys?
That's something that we're still going to be looking into.
Okay.
Yeah, and not only just a sponsor, but if we need to, honestly, we would just fold that into athletics budget.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what we would do for other sports.
Okay.
Yep.
How about your so is bocce a club?
So bocce there is a unified, what are we calling that? Unified Leadership Club?
Yes.
Which is a club,
Not a.
but then we actually have the bocce team, which is a sport.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
If you have not gone, you have to go to one.
The kid fist bumping down the whole freaking front. I really wanted to come to the second one, and I just didn't commit to it. But that was the best thing. Christian was so smile with his fist bumps. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
So that's the difference.
that
I just
can-
didn't know about getting them, like you said, a jersey. So
That concludes the ECC report, and Mrs. Bilby?
Yep, that'll
Sure.
close it.
Thank you. Everybody has a great evening, and Hopefully we have good weather tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.